for the first time. Where are you from, Marcus? It was actually
What's that?
I said, where are you from?
I mean, mainly here, Tulsa. I lived in Oklahoma City for a short stint, Dallas, Atlanta, but I basically was always go there, hate it, run back. I'm absolutely a creature of habit. My wife and Billy, the other owner, his mom tries to get me to move to Colorado all the time, and I'm like, nope. I keep telling my wife, I'm like, you're aware that I would be paid the same money, only our cost of living would be like through the friggin' roof. Like,
We're in Colorado.
So our office in Colorado is in the Aurora area. So we are basically Denver. So it's like Broken Arrows to Tulsa kind of thing.
They're the most like indebted state, aren't they? Colorado.
Oh, bro, don't even. Yeah, there's a reason Josh moved here. But we're mainly, our main office is in Aurora, but our main areas are the Denver area and then Colorado Springs, which is about 40 miles away, but it's about an hour. And Colorado Springs is where most of the gnarly weather hits, typically speaking. And so Steve, or actually, no, Rob, you're out of Colorado. Where in Colorado are you at, Rob? Are you in the Springs or are you in Denver? If you're talking, Rob, you're muted. I can't hear you. Where are you, Rob? Are you in the Springs or are you in Denver? You're in Denver? Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get us cracking. We're looks like we're missing Brian with the Y again. Get this thing moving. All right. So, gonna kind of pick up a little bit where I was and where I left off at. So, to me, if you have goals and you don't write it down, just telling you, you don't have goals. Okay? You've absolutely got to write them down. When you start writing them down, you start making it realistic. So, like you guys saw earlier, like what are my whys, and I have significantly more than this. Like as you write it down, like just more starts coming out, right? And you're making it real. It's kind of like, if you write one of those things, like I suck with remembering names. It's like until I type in the names for payroll enough times, I don't remember the names. But once I've typed you into payroll a handful of times, I got your name down, right? So same principle here. So if you don't have it written down, that's usually step number one. And that's generally where like 98% of people don't ever get to. Okay. So if you want to have goals, you need to start writing them down. Okay. Now, there's probably all sorts of different, or not probably, there definitely is all sorts of different philosophies on goal setting. I don't care. Take whatever philosophy you want. Some will tell you that you have to, make your goals unattainable. Some pick whatever philosophy you want for it. I don't care. What I'm going to tell you is where I feel most people go wrong, and that's the math. So you're going to hear me use the term a lot just throughout all of your time with me. Do the math. Math is no respecter of persons. It is what it is. So when you're doing the math, the number one thing you need to do in goal setting is you need to do the math to establish what actions you need to take. And actions are going to be the biggest part of goal setting that you need to get figured out. Because most people take their goal setting and what they do is they measure their results. That is wrong. Your results come from your actions. So if you're not getting the results you need to have, you need to see what your actions are. Because actions, by the way, just to clearly define this, are something that are 100% up to you. Only in control of you. So like an action, I'm going to get up and I'm not going to hit the snooze button. Like that is an action that is completely within your control. The only thing that makes you hit the snooze button is you. I very seriously doubt I've ever heard a story where someone said, I was going to not hit the snooze button, but a burglar was in the house. He held a gun to my head and said, you hit the snooze button, I need 9 more minutes to get your TV. Like if that's the case, maybe hitting the snooze button is not within your control, but more than likely it's all in your control. Okay. So When you measure your actions, you can actually figure out what you're doing wrong. That's like the step, right? So when you see here, when I got, you either didn't solve the correct problem, or you didn't take the right actions, or you didn't take enough actions. Like for example, so let's say, what we do with sales, right? So you want to sell $1 million. So you take some actions and you are currently on pace to do 500. Well, you did some things and now you're on pace to do 700. So what you did was the correct movement. You just didn't do enough of it. So you need to do more. Now, let's say if you want to do 1 million and you're only at half and you take some actions, well, now you're only on pace to do 400. Okay, so you took the wrong actions. So measuring your actions correctly allow you know where to move at. Versus if all you do is measure your results, you don't actually know why your results are bad. And that's the number one mistake. For those that do write it down, this is the number one first mistake that most people do when goal setting. They don't actually determine the actions they need to make, i.e. what I call solving the problem. You didn't solve the right problem, okay? So how do you get your actions? Number one, you got to start with what is your problem? And I say problem like if your problem is, you want to sell $1 million, you want to make 100,000, like whatever it is, right? So like that's your problem, okay? So once you know what the problem is, what is the thing you need to do? So like if you want to sell $1 million, cool. How many roofs do you have to sell $1 million? Like start doing the work. So if I have to sell that many roofs, then how many doors do I have to knock? Like do the math until it comes down to what you have to do to accomplish those tasks. Okay. Now, this is where if you're doing well, if you're writing things down, if you started to diagnose your actions, this right here is where the rest of most of the world will fall off. And this is why people don't hit their goals. Like I said, in my opinion, people don't hit goals. Well, number one, let's just assume you're writing them down. Okay. So let's assume you've written them down. You don't do the math right. And this is where people start getting it wrong. You don't do the thing. Like pretty much everybody knows if I eat healthy and I exercise, I'll overall be healthy. But how many people do it? Right? How many of us know if I was to read something every day, I'd probably grow my brain a little bit. How many of us actually read? Like you don't do the thing. And if you're writing it down, the reason that's so big and so helpful, if you write it down, it's kind of helps you force yourself to do the thing. Because like you're measuring it, it's in front of you. Versus if you don't write it down, it's like, you kind of get to put it off. Now, let's say you're super awesome. You've been doing all these things where people will go wrong. Very lastly, that keeps them from hitting their goals. You've written them down. You did the math because you're not measuring it. So you're like, okay, this is what I need to do. I need to do this much of it on these days. Like you do all the things, but you don't actually go back and forth to see if you made the right decisions. You don't put it down. So like when I said, maybe you didn't take enough actions, maybe you didn't take the right actions. Like if you don't measure it, you don't know. Now, this can kind of be an opinionated thing, but there's basically right and wrong answers. Why do you think people don't measure? So let's say you have goals, you've written your goals, you've done all your things. Why do you not measure? Anybody volunteer to ask or answer?
Because they didn't do what they wrote down.
Because you didn't do it. And it hurts your feelings that you didn't do what you said you were going to do. You are the promises you keep to yourself. And a lot of folks, and especially in the sales world, you need a scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard or you don't like the scoreboard, it's because you don't like your answers. The super awesome thing about what we do, legitimately, the number one thing in roofing sales to be successful is to do the thing. Like, period. I'm actually here in the next handful of slides. I'm going to actually give you guys the equation to make $10,000 a month. Like, I guarantee you, if you do this, you will make $10,000 a month, point blank, period, end of story. The difference is who does it, period. And that is absolutely where it tapers off. And literally, you can literally just think of it like being healthy or fit, like how many people are, right? Same thing with this, okay? That's why if you look at our bottom 50%, averages 50,000 a year, and then my top 1% makes 200. Like that's a huge gap. The difference, straight up, that's the difference. Because some of the, like, perfect example, Josh, owner of the company, horrible salesperson. Phenomenal results because he does the thing. Point blank, period, end of story. So, the mindset to determine your actions, to find your things, the mindset that you need to have, if I do X over a long enough period of time, it is absolutely impossible not to get this result. Meaning, if this is what you ate every day and you did this every day, this is what you would look like. If you look like this, I mean, maybe you got some juice in you, but like it takes these things as well, like point blank period. Like I don't look like this because I don't do this every single day. If you look yesterday, it was a cheat day. I was coming back from St. Louis. We hit Buc-ee's and I walked by these 6-pack of chocolate chip cookies and I had them. Okay. It's road food. Okay. You got to have food for the road. I mean, I can't have like, Chipotle. I'd make a mess. I'm trying to drive at a speed that we don't need to talk about. That Josh won't allow me to have a truck wrapped. So, but when you're setting your goal, this is how it needs to be. And the reason, same one, that people won't set their goals in this way, because they don't want to do that work. And whether you track your goals daily, monthly, weekly, whatever, I personally think you should track them daily. That's what works best for me. Those that don't track them, flat out, because the truth hurts them. Okay? So I told you I'm going to give you some simple goal setting for this. And I'll be honest with you, when Josh gave me this math, we got into a pretty good argument because I'm like, bro, that math is wrong. Because if this math is right, everybody we know in our company would be making $10,000 a month. Like, I'm telling you, argued. Here's the math. If you knock 50 doors a day, every single day, 5 days a week. So I guess that's not every single day. 5 days a week, every day. Okay, in those 5 days. Still saying that wrong. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to get off track here. All right. 50 doors. How long do you think it takes to knock 50 doors? You're not allowed to answer because you already know.
Not very long.
What do you think? Like, what's not very long? Like, not very long to me is totally different. Like,
How
I'm
close, I mean, it wouldn't be a full 8 hours, I don't think.
She said, okay, you are 4 hours. Okay. Anybody else got a number? 8 hours, 4 hours? Less than 8. 6 hours, 4 hours. Okay.
Depends on what someone answers to.
There you go. I'm going to say 2 hours, meaning if you don't get a sale. Like, so if I have someone I'm like, hey, did you get an inspection today? And they're like, man, I was out knocking. Like, I had this conversation with one of our guys a few weeks back. He was like, man, I was out knocking doors for 2 hours. I was like, and you didn't get an inspection? No, I was like, then that is not how long you're out. I said, you either were not out as long as you say you were, or you didn't talk to as many people as you said you like. It's literally impossible to take 2 hours and not be able to talk to 50 people. Like, it's literally impossible if you didn't get an inspection. And we go down the chain. Turns out he was actually only out there for 45 minutes. Felt like 2 hours because that's what he scheduled himself to do, but it's not actually what he did. So, yes, to your point, like, I've had 5 doors take me 8 hours because I sold 5 jobs. Like, that was my best, like literally just 5 doors, 5 set. Like, it was awesome. I was like, I can't lose. So I was not going to get 50 that day, right? But typically, like, when someone's like, Oh, is that? No, I'm sorry. If you had 0 success, 50 doors takes you 2 hours. So success varies, but if you have no success, that doesn't take you more than 2 hours. Okay. And if you have success, you're not going to be like, I only sold today. Like you're going to be pretty happy about it, right? So I dare anybody to prove us wrong. And no one has been able to prove us wrong yet. You're probably thinking, so everybody's making 10 grand? No, definitely not what I'm saying. Definitely not what I'm saying. So when I told you out of our, not last week's training, but it was actually, I said last week's, but it was a training before last, the guy with the least amount of experience and ability did the most because he knocked the most. Like, I mean, period. Like this old boy is not a sales guy, but he's willing to work. And he beat the guy who are sales guys. So, lastly, on goal setting, tell somebody. Okay, so for me, myself, I tell my wife. Like, if I want to be held accountable to a goal, I tell my wife. Because I'll tell you right now, she got no problem keeping it 100, as the kids say. That's what the kids say, right? Kids still say that? They say it. So, perfect example, I like to tell stories, in case you haven't figured that out. I've been doing this for a little bit, but now it's coming into fall, so the sun's coming down sooner, right? And my wife was used to me getting home like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, whatever it was. And I got home early today. I'm like 6 o'clock and I'm already home. She's like, what are you doing home? Hey, good to see you too, honey. But actually, I don't know if you know this, it's dark outside and I can't very well look at roofs in the dark. She's like, oh, you don't have a flashlight? She was not joking.
Yeah.
Like she was not joking. She was being serious. Now, she didn't know she was being a jerk. She just, like, to her, it's like perfectly logical. Like, she's black or white. To her, it's like, that makes perfect sense. You should have a flashlight. So, anyways, she knew what my goals were. Simple as that. And I don't tell her my goal unless I'm ready to be held. Like, if I tell her my goal, she gonna hold me. I promise you that right now. She gonna make me do it. Okay? So, tell somebody. Who's the somebody you got? Doesn't matter. Okay? So, if anybody has a goal that they want to talk about, I'm more than willing to help anybody work the math if you want to work the math. If you don't want to talk about it, I get it. It's a room full of strangers. Or a computer full of strangers. And you guys want anything? Got a goal you want to give? You want to be a guinea pig? Want to let me poke you? That sounds bad. So he's wearing a Go Pokes shirt. What am I supposed to do? All right, we're going to move on. Now, this is our extra credit portion of the day. Does anybody know what this door is?
No. Yeah, I think that is Monsters Inc.
Did you just say Monsters, Inc.?
Tell me that does not look like a Monsters Inc.
Is that Boo's door?
You know the name? Okay, you were a kid when the movie came out. I hope you have kids, or that's creepy. Okay, that's creepy.
That was a great movie. Marcus Frazier.
I know it, but only because I worked at a place where it was on all the time. Okay, all right. So it is not a cartoon movie. Okay. There we go. Insidious. I think you guessed this last time. So the movie series Insidious. Does anybody know the movie series, like scary movies? So Halloween and scary movies, like it's a legit thing for me and my wife. We put on a massive haunted house. Like, have you ever been to like a haunted house, like an actual place? We do one at our house on Halloween.
I do too.
Oh, do you really?
Yes, sir.
My guy, I like it. So last year it was a 517 feet. Took 7. We got rooms, we got music, we have coffins. Like it's a news comes out. It's kind of a big deal.
Wow.
But anyway, so I like scary movies. So I have weird scary movie references. So the Insidious, it's my wife's favorite scary movies. So when I was like struggling to figure out, I'm like, hey, what's a scary door? And she like almost slapped me for not having thought of this immediately. And so anyways, that's her slide. She has a couple slides in here that are hers. So like I said, I involve her in my goals. All right. So I guess I made fun of you guys for cartoon things. This is my age cartoon. Okay. Like, have you even seen this, Skinner? You even know what this is? Okay. Yeah. See? Yeah. Appreciate you. And then the movie, it's probably not PC correct for me to be sure, but I love this movie, Boiler Room. Okay. So
Act as if.
What's that?
Act as if.
There you go. So when it comes to door knocking, you're not going to be in the top 10% if you don't door knock. Okay. I'm not, you can make decent money at this, depending on what you call decent money without door knocking. You're not going to be in the top without door knocking. Okay. So like he did some pretty high level work, as in did a lot of work to have all that coin, even though he's only a cartoon character. This old boy here, like, he put in the work. He's on that phone all day, every day. So door knocking is absolutely that way. It's big and scary to guys, but honestly, it's not big and scary. You literally just get paid to walk around and talk to people. It's not super hard. So this right here is the voice in your head that you're going to have to ignore. Okay? There's a phrase that I heard a long time ago that I love that pertains to what we do very much so. You are allowed to talk to yourself. You're not allowed to listen to yourself. It is said that 95% of humans' thoughts are negative. That's why the hardest door in our industry is your car door. Getting out of your car door is the hardest door you're going to face every day. Because you're going to do all this research. You're going to be like, I'm going to go to this neighborhood. I'm going to go to this big neighborhood that I know about. And you're going to get out there and all these scary thoughts are going to come into your head. And you're going to be like, all right, I've literally been sitting in my truck now for 2 hours. I either need to get out or go home. There's going to be days where you make the choice to go home. It's a bad choice to make. That's the choice you're going to make. So when you hear this voice in your head, it's like, hey, don't do it. The last house sucked. Yesterday sucked. Whatever. Ignore it. Okay? Because sadly, the voice that's going, you're a rock star. You're amazing. Yesterday was awesome. It's not as loud. I wish it was. Mine actually kind of is. Marcus does like some Marcus. I will say that. So I have a pretty loud voice in general. So like we talked about earlier, 50 doors a day. Hopefully you're sitting here thinking about that right now and you're like, Marcus, there's no way I'm not going to knock at least 50 doors a day. Fantastic. Glad to hear it. Please remember that on day number 2 or day number 1 or day number 30 or whatever day it hits you. For me, it was 3 weeks in because first 2 weeks was amazing. Week 3 and 4 kicked the dog fire out of me. And I hated life. I'll tell you that. So this is an example of how the math works. So when I said 50 doors gets you 10 grand a month, like literally this is the math, okay? So this is the math based off of our average, meaning our average cost of roofs, our average sale, et cetera, et cetera. This is literally how the math works. So know this, take a picture of it, write it down, whatever, memorize it, but it's an average. If you're not measuring your own personal self, you will not know your average. Because, for example, for me, this 100% would not equate for me. Because this is not what my averages would come to. Okay? So, but that's all you have to go on right now. So you want to make $10,000 a month. Your average commission is $1,250. How many roofs does it take to get to $10,000 a month? Well, it takes 8 roofs. Actually, it's a little less than that, but round up, right? I'd rather be safe. When you're doing goal work, if the answer is 7.6, round up to 8, okay? And don't round down to 7, okay? Round up, don't round down. How many roofs per week does that mean you need to do? It means you need to do 2. So if you're doing 2 roofs a week, on average, how many authorizations do you have to do 2? And you're like, Marcus, what the heck is an authorization? We'll get to it in a little bit, but basically it's the first part of the sale. But just because you have an authorization doesn't mean it's going to come to a roof. Typically speaking, if you get 3 authorizations, you're going to lose one of them, whether it be through a denial, they went to another roofer, whatever. So that's why that math works the way it works. How many inspections does it take to get 3 authorizations? Once again, typically speaking, 5. Maybe you get on one, you can close it. Maybe you get on one and it didn't have any damage. All the things, right? How many? What's that? Say again?
Is that 5 inspections per day?
No, it's just it takes 5 inspections to get 3 authorizations. So that may be a day, maybe a week. It's just 5 inspections over a blank period of time. How many doors does it take to get 5 inspections? 250, i.e. 50 doors a day. So I break everything down to day because that's what I prefer. Meaning there's a quote by Bill Gates that goes, we overestimate what we can do in a day. We underestimate what we can do in a decade. So you need to make your goals daily. If you make it for a decade, it's going to be pretty weak goals. So you need to measure it daily. So we have one of our guys, remain nameless. He refuses to track his goals daily. Refuses to. Guess what? There was a month I got him to track him daily. Shocker, it was the best month he's ever had. Okay? And he doesn't want to do it daily because in what we do, there's going to be some days like, let's say the first day coming out of the month, you close a $50,000 roof. You're looking really good. Let's say if you don't close a goal at all, you're looking really bad. And what we do, there's going to be days where you're behind the 8 ball on a numbers board. That's why, once again, you need to measure your actions, not your results. Your actions tell you where you're going wrong. Okay? So that's how the math works. If you guys are curious how the math works, why 50 doors a day works, I show that because I feel like if I don't show that, it just feels like I'm making stuff up and I'm trying to give you some pie in the sky. Because let me tell you right now, I absolutely despise pie in the sky crap. Like, I don't like it. Pie in the sky. Hey man, when you come here, everybody's gonna make $200,000. Like, do we have people that make 200,000? 100%. What is the likelihood that everybody in this room is going to? Not. So, generally speaking, whatever percentage you've been and whatever you've done is probably what you're doing here. Unless maybe you're like, hey, this is just the thing that helps and changes. This is what I need, et cetera, et cetera. For me, this industry has been amazing. This company has been amazing. I've done this to the same level I've done everything else, only it pays way better. And once that started, it helped me do a lot of things. And I now make more than twice what I've ever made, and I work less than half of what I used to work. So this job allows you to be literally limitless, which means you're going to have to change. You're going to have to grow. And that's the cool part. If you follow along with it, you grow. And hopefully every now and again when you see some friends you ain't seen in a while, they're like, man, you're different. Good. You want to be. Okay? So when I say my wife's slide, this is another one of hers. She sent this to me. Like I said, if you want a goal, tell her. She'll hold you to it. We either make ourselves miserable or we make ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. Hopefully that rings to you a little bit. So our top 10%, and actually I didn't update this, it's 150 to 200. Where are you going to fall at? And I'm hoping you're being realistic in one of two ways. Like, oh, I'm hitting top 10, period. Stop me. Or I'm hoping it's like, you know what? Why am I not going to? And fix it. It's easily fixable. It really is. All you got to do is do the work. Simple. So here's some things that I actually want to give you guys. Now, some of this is just going to be Marcusisms. I don't know that you can look this up in any collegiate area and find any of this to be true. It's true in my brain, and it's what I did. So I'm trying to put it on paper so you guys can put it into your manner, okay? If you're making $10,000 a month, you're going to have to be working some neighborhoods. Like, you got to have places to go. Like, you're not just going to walk out your front door and talk to your neighbor every day and make them, like, it's not 50 doors and it's the same doors every day. Okay? It's got to change. So this up here is just general math of what it takes to find a good neighborhood. But generally speaking, if you're going to make $10,000 a month, you're going to have 7 active neighborhoods that you're working. So who wants to take a guess at what I mean by that? What do I mean by 7 active neighborhoods?
Areas that have been recently hit or damaged.
Okay. That's not wrong, but okay. Anybody else?
Maybe just an active community, like a.
You mean like one that you keep like coming back to?
You're getting very close. You're getting very close.
You go from one neighborhood.
And if you
Like
keep coming back to a neighborhood, why are you going back to it? Why are you more than likely going back to a neighborhood repeatedly?
Build rapport.
What was that, Gunner?
Because you're getting hits.
There you go. Active means a place you are having success in. Okay? So it's going to take you 21 neighborhoods to find your 7. Okay? That means 14 neighborhoods. I don't know if you know how many doors are in a neighborhood, is a lot more than 50. So that means one neighborhood collectively is probably going to take you about 4 days to find out that you wasted 4 days. But you didn't, because you found out some information. And maybe it's that you're getting on them and there's nothing but renters there, or you're getting on them and there's no damage, or you just can't get on them because they don't like your face. Like, that happens. So, perfect example that I like to talk about, this is not how I dress when I'm out in the field. I'm dressed in a very specific way. But back in the day when I started, we didn't have uniforms. Like, it was just wear whatever you're going to wear. And this one particular day, I'm getting my face beat in. And I mean bad. Like, I'm getting nowhere. People are basically spitting on me, and I'm not even getting to open my mouth, only enough for them to spit in it. So, and I'm trying to figure this out, and it's hot, and I'm sweating like a dog. I'm like, all right, I want to go back to the truck for a second, get a drink of water, figure out what's up. And I looked at the reflection in the truck, because obviously, and I was like, wait a second. I'm wearing a white button-up shirt and black pants. I look like I'm trying to go around selling Bibles. I bet this is why no one's talking to me. Literally went home and changed, went right back, and I got in everywhere. So I say that because there's going to be places you go that just don't like you. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. So these are the types of neighborhoods that you need to be looking for. So what is the confidence builder? Once again, this is a Marcusism, all right? Is that how you would say that, Marcus? Too many S's. Anyways, that's the neighborhood that is going to be different for every one of you. This is a neighborhood that you just can't lose. For whatever reason, you go here, they love you. Like, these are your people. Everybody's an OSU fan. Everybody's a bass fisherman. Is it bass specifically, or do you fish any? Just as long as it's a fish?
Crappie fish too.
Crappie fish. Okay. I throw a pole in, and I won a trip to Canada fish for 5 days on a guided tour, and I didn't catch anything. Out of like 25 people.
Well, I have a guy.
No one even went a day with. I went 5 days in another country to fish, and I didn't catch. And we only ate what we caught that day. Thank God everybody else caught enough to feed me, or I'd be starving. So I like fishing. It's a lot of fun. I get to talk. Maybe that's maybe part of the problem. I appreciate that. I'm just having a therapy session. So the confidence builder, it's going to be different for everybody. Like the old boy that trained me, for whatever reason, he was phenomenal in the hood. Like when he went to the hood, that was his place to be. I could not do well there. They don't like me at all. But you put me in the fancy neighborhoods, I do phenomenal. You find me a guy that's got car stuff, roof and everything you've ever owned. Like, you need to figure out what your people is. And that just takes time. And unfortunately, my best customer is the type of customer that I actually loathe. But it is what it is. They like me. We'll get into your types of homeowners, but it's what we call an OWL. Your researchers, your Subaru driving, Starbucks drinking, Apple computer, where like the not me guys. If they got a Tesla in their driveway, I don't know. The guys I wish that didn't like me love me. It is what it is. So to your point, the next one, you're going to have a damaged neighborhood. Now, mind you, Notice that I said 7 neighborhoods, but I don't have 7 different types. Like you may have 10 of these and 1 of these and one, whatever combo. But these are the kind of things that you need to be thinking about when you're driving around. And by the way, when you're driving around, like take the long way home or take the long way to the house and like get your head on a swivel, which is like some brittle things that I've just talked to you about. You may be finding some things that you previously, and the cool part is with what you'll go places other guys aren't. Okay? Because most roofers look for damage only. I almost don't even have a damaged neighborhood. Me personally, and I'll tell you this, I'll sell $1 million a year without a storm. I don't care. I don't even need a storm. A storm is cherry on top. I don't need it.
I know I'd only go to houses that I can, like, okay, they got damage. Something's happening. Cool. There's like an obvious sign, so that way I can instantly point out, man, I can see loose shingles. I can see missing shingle. I can see hail damage.
It's like I said, I'm not going to not go to damage areas, but I don't need it.
I want those skills.
That's what this is for. So 3-tab, okay? And you'll see bad wind and 3-tab sometimes are the same, okay? But just 3-tabs inherently are prone to a lot of issues that other roofs aren't. And inherently, you have more opportunity there, okay? A discontinued neighborhood. Like I will literally go to a neighborhood that is guaranteed to have discontinued shingles. Meaning the last architectural shingle change happened in 2012. So like if I'm looking for a discontinued neighborhood, I'm going to punch in, like I'm going to go to Zillow. I'm going to punch in a certain size house built from these certain age groups, and I'm going to go to it. And everybody there is going to be more willing to have, because it's like, hey, like they're just more like, if you go to a brand new neighborhood, you're probably going to have a pretty hard time selling them. But if you go somewhere that like their house is 15 years old, like, well, I mean, I'm not going to be conceited enough to say that I shouldn't get it looked at. To my point, everybody's got to get their oil changed. Whether you do it or not, you at least know that you should. Okay. So, bad wind. You want to go to a bad wind neighborhood, and most roofers aren't ever going to go there. They may send their crews out to do a couple patch jobs. I'm going to go get some roof spot. I love wind damage. You go work that hail. I'll work the area that no one else is working. And then when I help them like nobody else has helped them, that's why I get 3 referrals a day. Okay? And your big boys. Look, you want your big commission checks, all right? Nothing feels better than selling one roof and making 10 grand. Like, takes the same amount of work. Just feels better. To me, it does anyway. So, these are the types of neighborhoods that you need to look for. Again, most guys are only going to look for the damage. And again, this confidence builder could be any one of these. Like, the confidence builder is just like, you just can't miss. Like, if I knock a door, I'm on it. That's your confidence builder. And so let me give you some tips. Your big boys, do not go to your big boys on Monday and Friday. Don't do it. Monday, because your big boys, these are some folks that probably have some jobs that Mondays probably aren't their best days. And Fridays, it's date night. So ain't going to be nobody home.
Well, they got kids.
Yep. Your big boys are going to be best, typically speaking. Okay. Understand these are general stereotypes, but stereotypes exist because they're true. I'm going to knock your big boys Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay. My confidence builder, I'm going to hit on Monday, Friday. Because Monday, Friday, generally speaking, are your harder days. Monday, people aren't as good a mood. Friday, they're gone. Depending on what time of year it is, it's football night, whatever the case may be. And all that's going to change up a little bit when summer comes, but summers seem to be getting shorter and shorter. I do feel bad for kids. I swear my summers used to be like half a year long. Now they're like 2 weeks. I'm like, dang, I'm seeing the buses go by again. All right. This part here, I may not have left myself enough time for. That's fine. I'll just do it haphazardly and won't teach you guys very well. Listen to me always. No, I want you to teach me so good. Whatever. Okay, inspections. What'd you just look at it? This is like a video that went viral, and my wife has never let it go. And have you seen this one?
No, is it like a legit guy?
Yeah, it was like a famous. Just
Okay.
look up. Would you just look at it? It is the most annoying thing on the planet that my wife just thinks is freaking hysterical, and I can't stand it. Anyways, and this one creeps me out. Okay. And this is just a perfect example of what inspections are. You need to look at them. Okay. So, what is the number one rule of inspections? Anything you see on the screen in particular?
Yeah.
I love how the last one you win. Like, that's just so true. So, number one, AKA Boomer Sooner, right? You do get a percentage bump in your commission if you like OU. That was a lie, but it'd be cool if you did. So, I think I'm like the only one in the company. So the number one rule when doing inspections, as well as it is the number one thing you will do. I don't care what anybody says. The guy who does the best inspections will win, period. If you look at our top writers, shocker, they have the best inspections. Bottom guys, guess what? They don't. So before we go any further, I'm going to ask a quick question. And I either need the left side of the room or the computer to say this. When you're doing an inspection, how many photos do you think you should take on average?
Hold on a minute.
50.
Okay. Some of the guys have a little bit of experience. It is 70 to 80. I always say 75. Okay. Now, if you want to talk about what do you think your average roofer takes?
Less than that.
Significantly less than that, right? Okay. So the number one rule on the number one part of the process is it ain't about you. As we've discussed before, what do most roofers do? They get up on the roof, they look for their damage that pays them the quickest and the easiest, and off they go. So the story that I tell the most on this, and I'll never get tired of telling this story. I had this lady who had a house that was 5 years old and had a metal roof, okay? And she had paid like 4 or 5 different contractors $8,000 to fix this leak, and it has never been fixed. Because, again, she go to one guy, paid money, wouldn't fix, like having a hard time getting this leak fixed. And a lot of guys, unfortunately, don't really know about metal roofs the way you should know about metal roofs and just whatever. So I go up, I do my thing, I'm doing my inspection, I come to show her, and I start showing her photos. And so far, the only thing I'm showing her is photos of the work that she's paid for. Now, my assumption is she's well aware of this. I'm only telling her so that she's aware that, hey, I know what I'm doing, right? She starts crying. I'm like, okay. I'm like, what happened? And she goes, this is the first time I've seen pictures. Like, you've spent $8,000 and you haven't even seen a picture. Like, that's your competition. Okay. And that's why if you do the inspection right, one, you're actually looking to help the homeowner, i.e. this poor woman that had paid, and rightfully so, she had PTSD. She would like call me for 3 months after we did her repair. Hey, it's going to rain tomorrow. Am I okay? Like, and I get it. Like, she spent a lot of money and still continue had a leak. So these guys are just going up, worried about them. They weren't actually worried about spending 2 extra seconds to find the problem. I was the first one that showed her pictures, and she'd spent $8,000. So it ain't about you, period. Okay? And shocker, she still gives me referrals to this day. So it is the number one thing you're going to do. I don't care what anybody says. It's the number one thing you're going to do. Josh and I even get into this. It's the number one thing you're going to do. Okay? This is where you get to show them who you say you are. You know, when you got at the door, oh man, I can help you at the insurance company. Oh, that other guy couldn't do this. Like, well, this is where you get to prove that all that crap you just said to get on the roof is true. This is where you get to prove that you are the guy or the gal. You're the one. Because if you're doing a proper inspection, you're making it about their home. You're not making it about the insurance damage, and insurance is the guy. Like, I don't want insurance to be the guy. I want to be the guy. I want to be what helps you, not insurance because they gave you the money. Okay? So this is where if you have done your job correctly, you actually get to make a proper diagnosis. And this is where you look at the damage on their home. Like, look at the dadgum home. I can't tell you how many times I get up on a roof. And as we talked about, like, in all the roofs I've built, I can maybe count on one finger how many I didn't have to do some kind of decking around the chimney. Right? So what do you think I look at when I get on a roof? The chimney. And there's been times where I've seen holes. Sorry, just gleeked like crap there. Where I see holes in a roof, like where a raccoon or something has gotten to their chimney. And they didn't know it. We want to know why they didn't know, because most homeowners don't get on the roof and go, well, let's look at the backside of my chimney. Including me, when I had to do my roof, I was like, you know what? I should probably look at my chimney. I was like, babe, I got to rebuild the chimney. She's like, how do you not know that? Because I look at houses every day. I don't want to look at mine. Look at the daggum home. Like, don't just get up there and look for your paycheck. Don't just get up there and look at the hail damage. Like, look at the daggum home. If you're there, check out, make sure their trim on their chimney's in good shape. Doesn't mean you have to do it, but like, look at the dang home. Like, check some flashing out. There's been plenty of houses that I've gone up on, and all I do, and I'm the guy who carries a massive amount of tools in my truck, bless you. Because when I run across something where I could have just done a quick little something to help somebody out, and I couldn't because I didn't have it, like, I don't feel good. So I keep little things with me. So I'm just like, hey, everything's good. I'm just going to do this real quick for you. See you later. Like, take care of something. It's not just about you. Okay. So these are going to be the basics that you're going to need to actually be able to do inspections and actually be able to do this job. Now, Josh only ever had a ladder. Okay. He didn't have this other stuff. And I have significantly more stuff than these. You need a ladder of some sort. Okay. If you're in a car, get a telescoping ladder. If you're in a truck, get one of these or get whatever, like, have a ladder. You need to be able to at least go 17.5 feet. That's going to get you on the majority of roofs. Okay. Chalk, and this is like the chalk that I buy, 120 pieces, $12 on Amazon. It is the dog nastiest, cheapest, crappiest chalk you'll ever run across. Like, some people are like, oh, get the roof chalk. No, I want my chalk to blow away if someone blinks too hard. Like, I don't want my chalk staying on their roof for lots of reasons. It's their home. And then if I'm in a neighborhood that no other roofer knows about, I don't want them knowing about it. Okay? So in a shingle gauge, which like I said, you'll use, and then a pitch gauge, which again, that just tells me, all right, do I need to pee my pants a little bit, or I just need to get up here and run around? So on the inspection, actually doing a good inspection is extremely important. But before that comes this part. You need to tell them what you're going to do. So if you're fixing to take 75 to 80 photos when your average guy takes significantly less than that, he's going to need to know why. So when you're like, hey, I'm going to check out your roof, and then you're checking out his gutters, if you're doing that to me, I'm going to come outside and be like, hey, old boy, what are you doing looking at my gutters? That is not my roof. You need to let them know what you're doing, or it's just suspicious. You need to let them know, hey, can I get into your backyard because I'm going to be doing X, Y, and Z, versus you go into a backyard and there's an Akita that is literally a trained guard dog. Ask me how I know.
Oh,
That day wasn't.
Huh?
That day wasn't.
Yeah, so you want to hear the story. Okay, cool. Marcus, tell the story. Thanks. So I'm at this, and I actually ended up, I just sent one of the guys to do an inspection on another one of his houses. So I've done 5 houses with him now. Looks like it's about to be 6. But the first one I'm doing with him, he's at the door. Wife's not at the door. He's at the door. I'm talking to him. And this is after we just had a storm, and there was like a tree that had fallen halfway on their house and on their gate. So like, it took him to kind of help me open the gate. So he's cool with it. He's like, absolutely. I've been looking for someone to come by. Let's go do this thing. He never tells his wife anything. So I'm needing to get into the backyard because I do good inspections. And he's literally kind of prying it open, let me in. And I come in and I'm pretty deep into the yard now. Like, I'm in this yard. And I hear this growl. Now, this is not uncommon. I'm thinking, okay, they got a window open. Like, it's just a dog inside. And then all of a sudden, I see an Akita. And shows me some teeth. I'm like, hey. So I'm looking at the dog. I'm like, hey, Anthony. Yeah. This Akita. Do I need to be concerned? Marcus, get out of there right now. I'm like, cool. Well, I'm gonna walk over there real slow. I'm gonna keep looking at him. Definitely not running. Absolutely. And I just keep talking the whole time as I walk out. And he's like, oh my gosh. And he's like freaking out. I'm like, what? And then the wife called in the last minute. She comes running around and she goes, oh, boy, you must have a good soul. I'm like, what I do have is a soiled pair of pants right now. Because she's like, he is actually trained to attack. And he's actually attacked 3 people that have gotten back in our yard. 1 was trying to break in, 2 were like gas guys or whatever. I'm like, cool. She's like, and she looks at Anthony, she goes, he's good to do whatever he wants. Send him to all the houses. Like, just because of the way the dog didn't kill me. But I'm telling you right now, like, yeah, 100%. Everybody knows I'm getting it. Like, I'm announcing it to the whole house. I'm going in the backyard. Like, yeah, that. Mm-hmm.
How many houses do they have?
6 at least.
Nice.
So that particular one was 103 squares or something like that. I think it was like with waste on it. It was one, yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. It was a lot. And that was one that started off as a repair with the insurance company. Insurance company originally quoted 2 squares.
Imagine that.
Yep. So we're going to actually look at some inspections so that we can see exactly what I'm talking about. We'll go through on Company Cam later tomorrow to actually see how to use the software to do inspections and whatnot. But I'm just going to give you some examples of what making good inspections are. Okay. So, and everything that I do, for the most part, there is a reason for it. So let's talk about reason number 1. The first picture you need to take needs to be at the front of the house where you can see the whole house. The second picture needs to be the house number, whether it's on the curb, whether that's on the mailbox, that, wherever. And you're probably thinking, why do I need to do this? Well, there's a chance if you don't, the product gets delivered to the wrong house. Just maybe. And then maybe because the product's delivered to the wrong house, the installers go, I guess that's where we go. And maybe the wrong roof gets torn off. Maybe. And then maybe because you didn't do this, you gotta be like, hey, so check it out.
You have a new roof.
Getting one now. And by the way, yes, I did sell it. So a very good deal, but nonetheless did sell it. So there's a reason we do everything that we do. Okay. You need to take, because in our company chem system, this is the first thing will pop up so that they can make sure that they're at the right address. Because guess what? Mistakes happen, right? I'm one of them. So the next thing, you need to start right to left, left to right. I don't care. If you want to go left and work your way all the way around right, that's fine. You want to go right and work your way around left, I don't care. But you need to start in one spot and work your way around. And you're going to work around the entire perimeter before you get on top of the roof. And here's what you need to be thinking about. Like you heard me say, what your mindset needs to be. The reason you're doing these photos are for 2 things. To document for the homeowner in a manner that when you show them your 75 photos, they understand what's going on and they know what they're looking at. And then also for the production team so that they don't deliver to the wrong address, or when the guys are looking at it, they're trying to determine, okay, do I need my ropes? What do I need to do this installation? Okay. Because I'll get phone calls from guys that need help and they got 10 photos. And I'm like, bro, I don't know what I'm looking at. And guess what? I teach guys what this is. And if I don't understand it. That homeowner dang sure don't understand it. So let's go through some things that we're talking about. The number one thing you need to do is far away before your close up. Okay. So before you take a close up of this, you need to have a far away so they have some point of reference. So close ups are good, but if all you have is a close up, you need the point of reference. So it always needs to be frame of reference, then your close up. Perfect example of where that comes in all the time is on your gutters. Now, how many times I'll see guys just take pictures of gutters, but they don't know which gutter. Now, here's what you need to think about. It doesn't make sense, but it is the way that it is. A homeowner doesn't know you. And like, if all they see is a picture of this gutter, there is a chance, a close-up of this gutter, like, okay, so show me a gutter. They may not, and even if it's subconscious, even if they're not aware that they're questioning whether or not this is their gutter, when you do this, they definitely don't question that it's their gutter. So again, it gives them representation so they can truly understand what's going on. So when you're taking your far away photos, this photo, and then I'm taking my right way so we can see over the entire roofing structure, like have an idea what's going on, what we're looking at. Oh, this little dip up here has gutters, but it doesn't have any, like it gives you all the things you need to know, okay? You're taking pictures of your collateral. So if you ever wonder why I'm taking pictures of the gutters, the downspouts, the door, I'm looking for hail damage. Because remember, hail on a shingle is subjective. And guess whose favor? Shocker, right? This stuff proves that what you see on the roof is hail, okay? And then from up here, once again, I got my far-aways and my close-ups. So if I just had just this as a close-up, well, where is it? Oh, far away, a little bit closer, a little bit closer. It's the exact same picture. I'm just getting closer and closer each time so I can get to my hail damage. And by the way, there's your soffit venting. So splatter is a huge thing. And splatter is something that I wish I could describe to you better or explain. But again, I'm not smart enough, okay? Splatter almost looks like someone took wet hands and goes like this. But it's a permanent stain. And it's what hail does. So you may not be able to see very well unless you're like looking directly at my computer. There's like a little dark spot. It's not dented. It's just a little dark spot. And on the screen share, you guys can probably see it a little bit better. Okay. And then if you're like, why are you taking a picture of a screen? Because the very next photo is a little nick on the screen. But then another reason that you're doing it, there will be times where the screen doesn't have any damage, and then you're doing a walk around at the end of the day with the homeowner after you've built the roof, and there's a big tear in the screen because a shingle hit it. You're like, well, that one there before, I'm going to fix that. Ask me how I know. Oh, see my gloves? It's good. Those are the gloves to have if you have dainty fingers, okay? Don't judge me for my dainty fingers, okay? I got calluses, but I don't have fingertip, whatever. Shut up, bully. All right. Want to talk about granules coming out your gutter? That's what I'm talking about. And if you say to a homeowner, hey, you ever seen granules coming out your gutter? I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. Maybe they don't talk, but it's similar to that, right? I always use, hey, you ever see what looks like sand coming out of your gutters? Because most people are just going to think that's sand. Okay. And this is what it looks like when it's in your gutter. So this is part of the ladder photos. You always need to take it. And if you see this in your gutters, what are you thinking? Old or hail. Now, granted, see that much from hail, that was like 80-inch hail and it's a really bad day. But okay, so if you see that much, it's going to be age, which is exactly what the problem was on this roof. So you need overviews on your roof as well. Now you'll notice when I do an inspection, I'm going to do all my chalk mark. I'm going to do everything first. Then I'm going to take all my photos. Because when I take my overviews, I want all my squares to be in the overviews. And as you can see here, this roof is half beat up really bad with hail and half beat up because it's old and beat up, right? So you want overviews of the roof for all the reasons. For production, see, like I'm showing my production team all this stuff, all the pipe, like it's just one of those deals. So like, let's say if I didn't do my job right and I didn't fill out the inspection sheet, I can go back later and go, okay, there's my pipe tech boots, 1, 2, 3, like, and maybe there's been some times where I use my photos to remember how many things I had of certain things. Maybe, I mean, by maybe 100%. So let's talk about what your squares need to look like. Okay, so when you hear the term squares, you need to mark out little 10 by 10 foot sections. So 10 foot by 10 foot, okay? And it's a little do-to-do. Okay? Does it have to be exact? No, roundabouts. If you're trying to think of 10 foot, when you see me dunk a basketball like this, 1, there's a trampoline that you don't see, but 2, that's 10 foot, okay? So what you need is 6 hits in an area, okay? Now, some insurance companies are going to say you need 14.
I think 10 was the max, like that was 14 around.
Yeah. So here's the thing. How do insurance companies get to determine what the proper usage is? I don't know, but they do, and they shouldn't. To me, the damage is the damage. It is what it is, right? But so we're going to go off of roofing practices, which says 6, okay? Now, in this case, obviously they had 10. But when you do those squares, you need a square for the front, the back, the left, and the right. That's it. Now I say that's it because no one told me. They just said you need one of each slope. So I was taking like 4 lefts, you need 1 left, 1 right, 1 front, 1 back. Yo.
We did 3 sides. Once we had
Do 4.
4. I don't know.
Do 4. So are there some times that you only need 3? Yes, but like just 4. So like if the difference in making it or getting your job turned around was measuring a slope, would you rather just do it then or go back? Know what I mean?
Sure.
So what you're seeing here is you're seeing me take a far away of the square. Then you're seeing a close-up saying left side, and it's got hail, so that's H, 10 plus. Okay? And then I'm taking some photos of some hail. Okay? Everybody tracking? So then again, just kind of an idea. And you can see here, this would be one of those little deals where if everything was great and super condition, I would probably just run an extra nail on their flashing and then cap it off with some silicone.
What is the plus 14 for?
That means there's 14 hits. So you only need 6. Now, is there really a need to go to 14? I mean, no, but I just did. I was honestly up there just going, because this had happened when I went to a neighborhood that was supposed to have been smoked. I got on 3 that were fine. And I was like, woo, I knew I was right. So I was just super excited and I stopped counting. I was like, oh, I don't need to keep going. So that's the only reason I did 14. So, but when you're going through an inspection, you need to make sure that you're taking plenty of photos. And again, I don't have all of them on here. And we're going to get a little bit deeper into that as far as what it all looks like tomorrow. Is everybody tracking so far? So the one thing I want to show you guys.
I mean, there were some roofs that where I was like, this is way too steep. I'm not getting on it. I would do like a 5 by 20 instead.
I mean, whatever's clever. I mean, your inspection isn't necessarily the end all be all. So, I mean, you're just kind of there. My internet is running much faster here. So a couple things I want to show you guys with all this. So this is Company Cam, which is the system you guys will be using. Let me get you zoomers back.
Is that a 0-1?
What's that?
So is that a 0-1?
Yep. I have that. I don't have a ZR1. I just have a C6.
Okay.
But
That color on that one.
that's still my favorite. That's I love that car. But they're just way too much money for what they are right now. All right, can you guys see me back there on the Zoom? Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So company cam is what you're going to use for all your photos.
Now, do we take this off of this CRM type thing, or do we take it from our photos and it directs it?
Yeah, so you'll have the company cam app, and then you'll take the photos through the app on your phone.
Just so it keeps it all organized.
Yep. Yeah. So, well, there's a good handful of reasons for this. So, one, like I had it pop up yesterday. It was like, hey, do you want to see memories back in 2020 or whatever? And it was more roofs. I'm like, freak. I thought every time you think you delete all the daggum roof photos, you find more photos. So, one, you don't have to do that. But then two, you can send 100 some photos all at once with a link. So when you have to fight the insurance company, or when you're like, hey, you want to show these to your wife? Here you go, or whatever, right? And then also, I have access to them. So like I had a guy call me this morning and say, hey, can you take a look at these photos for me real quick and tell me what you think? I can look at them while you're on the roof. So it's got all the cool benefits. But then also, like something that you'll look at here, it actually stamps the address, the time, the date, like it does everything. So insurance can't be like, oh, well, that damage is before out. Like it's super awesome. It just does all the things, right? So I just wanted you guys to kind of see like the full inspection of what a full inspection looks like. So you'll see all the photos taken, and you do things like this right here, the waviness. Like, do I know why this is happening? No. But what am I doing? Well, what's the odd case that after we do this, he never noticed that before, but now because he's looking at his roof, he does notice that he thinks we did it. And here's the thing, like this is a CYA situation, but homeowners like legit, I've had people in a situation like that, like they weren't malicious people. They legit did think that came from us because they don't go around looking at their house. Like they just don't. So this guy was missing shingles on the front of his house and didn't know it. He was the last one I got in the cul-de-sac, and you can see. You can't see from this photo.
Worked on that place?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! I thought it was the camera, but I got to look at
Yep.
it. A little closer.
So you can just see how many photos I take, why I take them, and what it looks like. But there's one I want to show you here. So you can literally see all the missing shingles on his roof that told me, one, it's brittle. Okay. This guy had no idea he's missing shingles. Like people don't just look like, right? Like, have you ever it's been a while since you watched a car and all of a sudden like, when this freaking didn't get here, or when this, like, same thing, right? They don't look at it as much as you probably think they look at it.
Especially when you've owned it for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he's been in here for a fat minute. So, and don't judge him by the car you see out here. He has some amazing race bikes inside. So he's a bike racer, super cool guy. So these are how many photos and what your photos need to look like when you're doing an inspection. So this is getting up on a ladder, and I want to show you. So this right here, when I talked about earlier, when you're doing an inspection, when you do your ladder photos, this is something you need to be using, okay? When I'm looking at this, excuse me, I'm looking to see what kind of decking they have, but then also the thickness of that decking. And then also, is it maybe rotten along the edges? So like I'm looking at lots of things. I'm looking at the felt in this situation, which the difference between felt and underlayment is what?
It absorbs.
Very good. So when I do your roof, we're not going to use that. When I do your roof, we don't use 3-tab. So it helps tell the story. There again. By the way, this is a discontinued neighborhood that I was working. Got the cul-de-sac. Average roofs in this neighborhood were like 50 squares.
So that.
And there was no storm here.
Oh, okay. So that didn't go through insurance then?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, I was confused.
Yep. I got his entire roof replaced based off the 60-mile-an-hour wind that came through,
Oh, okay.
as well as his entire cul-de-sac.
Nice.
So you're going to see me like what he was talking about. This right here on the bottom of the chimney, this is a cricket. Okay. Any chimney more than 29 inches wide, 29 inches, don't care what state you're in, you have to have a cricket. Okay. The purpose of a cricket is to make the water go away. And even with crickets, trust me, this roof still had issues, which you'll get to see in some of the photos.
The water sits in that corner.
It just does. It's too much, man. On a roof this long and this light, it's just, I mean,
There's no way that gets
just
water.
too much. Yeah, right? So, but then also, look at some of the photos I'm taking. This got a dadgum thing to do with the roof? No. But should he probably know throw some caulking in there? Yeah, sometimes when you turn it, my cell reception wasn't super good in this neighborhood. So like my phone wasn't turning as quick as I was turning. So do slow down if you're ADD like me. Slow yourself down. Some guys that take photos and it's like blurry because like you're taking like don't take a photo while you're sitting there running, right? Okay, it's not a fast shutter Canon. Help me out, guys. Golly, let me struggle up here. I'm on freaking camera and you're making me look bad. So this right here, this is a turtle vent, aka a box vent, aka a slant back, aka all the things. Okay, tomato, tomato. This one right here, do you think that this kind of vent belongs in the middle of the roof? So if that vent is in the middle of the roof, why do you think that is? Because that's what the guy that ran the vent for their stove used for a vent cover. Did he use the proper piece of material? No, but you're going to see a ton of that. So it should look like a dryer vent, but they don't, like Lowe's doesn't stock those in 8 inches. So most guys will just go and grab one of these. I mean, is it the right thing? No, it's not necessarily the wrong thing. But it's something to be like, hey, this right here, I can see that you've had this added in. Like, is this like a stove vent that you've had added in? He's like, how did you know that? Because I'm freaking good at my job. So little things like that make it. It should look like this, only bigger. That's a dryer vent. How many of you have seen this? What am I marking?
Plus 17 north side.
Yep. Can you see these?
It's plus H2. You have 2 hits. Plus,
There's one. The lacing, the wind's blown up and ripped the shingles off the fastener. So when you see me making those marks, that's exactly what that is. That's these marks here are where wind has gotten in and ripped up a section. Now this is another one of those things where an insurance guy will try to go, that's just bad installation. Really? Back in 04 and it just now became a problem after a windstorm? That's a little weird. Okay? But because of the shingles being brittle, I know it can't be repaired. So this is the amount of detail that you should be having when you're doing inspections. And yes, even though that thing's steep, get all around up on it and crawl on it. So when it comes to tear off, there is nothing I didn't expect, including all the crap we had to replace around that cricket that was bad.
That's that one that you had to bring
Same house.
to.
Yep. And the ropes. I always love it when the ropes are there. I hate it when the ropes aren't there and they make me walk around without the ropes. It makes me feel not good. All right. Zoom guys, you still follow me? Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Still with me? Can you still see my slides?
Yeah.
You can? Okay. So, and you guys are going to have it. I'm going to have to get your paperwork sorted out so that you can have it. Everybody, and for some of you in Colorado and Utah, this doesn't matter because you've already got it. Have you got that email from Lisa giving you a first priority email and your business cards? Have you seen it? Okay. Did you reply to her? Say, yes, those are the correct business cards. And yes, this is my closest Office Depot. Okay. So once again, just to make sure, because I know all of you did it, you received the email and you replied, yes, my business cards are correct. And this is the closest Office Depot to send them to. My boy Christian did for sure. Okay. So you definitely need to do that if you haven't. And if you have, great job. And you guys definitely didn't because I just got your paperwork. So the Mighty app. This is something that all of you guys are going to get access to. But you first got to have your email sorted out. Okay. So on your email, I'm going to give you the access to Mighty through your company email. So everything that you're going to get here going forward is going to be on your company email. And our Mighty network, which is what you just heard go off on my computer, is going to be where all of our training material is at, as well as all of our chat platforms. So there's one for each state. There's one for all the sales guys. There's operations. There's all sorts of stuff in there. But it's going to be crucial to you guys because you're going to have the Road to Six Figures training done by Friday. Okay? So let's talk about what that is. So here is the Mighty app. And the cool part, whether a lot of things like you have a PC version and an app version and they're totally different. These are exactly the same. Your app is going to look just like your PC looks. So that's what's really cool. Okay, so once you get access to this, which I will be giving, now that I know all of you have your emails, I will be sending out this Mighty app for all of you today. When you guys hang up and go eat, and when you guys drive to the hotel, et cetera, I'm going to have all this getting sent out to you. Make sense? Okay. So what you're going to look in right off the bat is you're going to come on the left-hand side. Now, yours isn't going to have all the stuff that mine has because I have things that you don't have. But Road to Six Figures is going to be where you're going to go. And you're going to have to get in all these videos. Now, mind you, all these videos are not the first 6. It's all of these videos. Now, it's not that bad. The first ones are the longest ones. The last ones are mostly like from here down, most of these are like 7 minutes on average. So it's not too bad. But these up here are like 45 minutes a pop. Now, here's something I want to tell you. When the video is pretty much over and there's only 1 second left, let that second play. Because if you don't, it won't give you credit. And if it doesn't give you credit, I don't see that you did it, and I don't give you credit. So let it play. And the majority of them are cut off pretty much like straight away. But pretend it's a Marvel movie, and you're staying for the cliffhanger. Okay? All make sense?
Yes, sir.
All picking up what I'm putting down?
Yes, sir.
Smell what I'm stepping in?
Yes, sir.
Blow what I'm spraying?
All of it.
That's all I can come up with. Do you know any more?
That's good.
Do you know any more? Okay, you'll learn them. You're young. All right. You guys got any questions? Nope. All good? Let's pull up your faces so everybody here can see your faces. There we are. All right. Well, you guys know what time tomorrow. What time is it tomorrow for you guys? It's 8 o'clock for you guys. Okay. 9 o'clock for all y'all. Okay?
Here at 9.
Right here. Everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, look at me. 5 minutes early. You're welcome. All right, y'all be good. And I got to give you guys the hotel. And that should be pretty easy to find. It shouldn't be like trying to find here.
You can just type in the name and
See, that was the weird part. When I typed in this address, it showed this real nice hotel, and I was like, okay. So when the GPS told me, they were like, yeah, you should be following up on it. It should be on your right. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, where the hell's this nice hotel at?
it took me to school down the road.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, where this is, and then I saw that there's a super nice facility, probably a couple hundred yards that's
Up on the hill.
Yeah, I was thinking, okay, that must be the place. So I went over there and I was like, this isn't it. So I was like, what the hell? So,
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Does everybody here have an iPhone?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Okay, that'll make it the easiest way then. Make sure I'm sending you to the right one. There's like 562 of them. Okay, here we go. You guys got any questions? No? All good in the hood? Did you guys bring your paperwork with you by chance?
We did not.
Okay. I'll bring some for you to fill out, excuse me, tomorrow, because the photo I got has, like, we can't use it, not for like a government type work. It's got a big arm and an iPhone shadow in it, so. All right, you should all have the address.
Normally they say that's good enough for government work.
Yeah, no, not when it comes to taxes. Not mine. I don't.
Yeah, I guess you're right about that.
Yeah,
They'll need the IRS. So.
yeah. All right, homie, don't do that. Homie, don't play that. Everybody get it? Cool. All right.
Nope.
Anybody got questions for me?
Oh no.
You don't know.
On the group.
Yes, sir. I got it.
Cool.
I wonder if this is gonna do. No. Why did they do that on your phone?
Are you gonna have all of your presentations sent out? Like, is this something that I can have?
It is.
Did it pop up on anybody else's phone like that?
Yeah. Just copy and paste it into your Safari.
Oh,
Oh, no
I
one
did
showed
the
up.
Oh, I posted, I tried to do it in the map thing.
Did it not come across in the?
No, I just pulled up like this big link.
Put it in your Safari and it'll.
Is that how it popped up to you guys too? I freaking shared it from my map. Dang it.
I did.
My technology strikes again.
So we go
I
to
got it.
our GoDaddy account. I think that's what it was under.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So you're gonna want to download the Outlook app on your phone.
Yeah.
Like if you try to do it through your Outlook that's built in to your iPhone, bro, you're gonna hate life. Like, so download the Outlook app, and then I'll be sending it to all your stuff.
Yes, sir.
He said, don't worry, I'm not gonna put you on the hood.
Definitely not putting you in the hood.
I feel like it'd be pretty hard to find that in Tulsa.
You can definitely have some hood.
Well,
Shade
that-
tree.
It says we'll be there at 3:11. Try that.
Man, that was a good band back in the 90s. All right. You guys think you can all find your way back here tomorrow?
Indeed.
Yep, I think so.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, you got a continental breakfast included, so if you want to wake up early enough for your, I don't know if it's just cereal and waffles or what. I don't know what it is, but
Thank you for lunch.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Hey, if there's extra, I'll take it. I ain't doing nothing with it.
Where do you want us to put these cups at?
Just set them, next to it. Yep, that works. Oh crap! I'm drinking water. I'm gonna get in trouble. One of our buddies' wives bought him a mug that has a Bluetooth that she can track her app on how much he's drinking.
Oh, wow.
She's like, I'll get text messages throughout the day that I need to drink my water, and Kathy's
They
like,
have.
she's like, I'm gonna get you. I was like, no, you're not.
That's pretty cool. You're not.
I don't. I'll drink 2 pots of coffee a day, no problem.
As if
But a bottle of water,
tracking devices weren't enough.
Thank you.
Track
hey,
that
no problem. Appreciate you coming out. We'll see you suckers tomorrow.
Alrighty.
Drive fast, take chances.
Yep.
Hey, appreciate you, man. Be good.
So said you have a good radar detector?
What's that?
Said you have a good radar detector?
Oh, it's these little peepers right here, man.
No, that, good radar detector and Waze. Use the Waze app?
Dude.
WAZE?
Yeah, so
That's-
iPhone's been getting a lot better at it. People have actually been plugging it in where it says speed trap ahead. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's getting pretty solid.
Yeah, no, I get it.
It saved me a couple times yesterday, actually.
I was gonna say, a good radar detector saved me plenty of times. I've got an older Escort 360 Max.
Uh-huh.
That'll tell you, like, it's like the old Valentine one. I don't know if you know what that is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, like that. But yeah, it helps for sure.
Good night. These guys have blown me up today. Well, man, enjoy your evening.
Shall do.
I'm going to send out that invite to all y'all.
How much should I save here or keep here? I mean, no, you think? Take it all, bro. You think was Josh? Was his name? Who was the gentleman at the end of the table?
No, you can take it.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good. You want it all, take it all. If you don't, it's just getting thrown away.
Shenanigans.
Where?
All right. So it was just a base model Corvette you had, or with transport?
No, it's the base.
I had a,
I treat it like a redheaded stepchild. It's going to autocross. It's going to Hallett this year. Like I'm
okay.
not gonna do that to a nice one
Okay.
because I have that. I also got a 75 Firebird, and then I got a 280Z that I just picked up too. So
Okay.
yeah, this is I abuse the dog piss out of it. If I'm in it, it's
As long as it's a manual,
it's
right?
not- oh, 100%.
Okay,
bro.
good.
Bruh.
Auto manuals, forget about it. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's trash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you want any of these snacks for later? Oh, I know. I don't want to be the bad guy. Take them all. Be like, hey, they took them all. These sandwiches are in here. That's it? You sure? There's plenty of the sandwiches.
I'm good.
All right. Potato salad. Let's see you gentlemen tomorrow.
Indeed. Have a